Now the next step is to check out, then also have an order history that will be inside our account profile that will show the orders of our products. Then we'll also implement the payment gateway. So I think this should be the next thing after checkout. Okay, then order will be the last thing, but I'm just going to do 3 of them at once. Then we'll test run and see if everything is working. Okay, so now that we have implemented our cart, let me close down all this, and we are still going to use this URL. Close this too. Our cart, let's close it too. Close this. All right, the next step for us to be able to implement our cart, we are going to be setting up Stripe, and for you to be able to use Stripe, you need to install Stripe. Let me close this. Now we have to set up Stripe. For us to use Stripe, we'll do pip install Stripe. Now for you to use Stripe, once you're done installing it, you need to have Stripe here. You can go to Stripe. Let's open Stripe. When you open Stripe directly from here, you can sign up as a developer. Once you sign up as a developer, you'll be able to have the public key and also the secret key that will enable us to be able to check out and also use Stripe API directly from our website to test run our payment gateway. I have already set up my Stripe, and I'm not going to be showing you guys my secret key and public key in this video, but I'm going to show you how you set it up in your settings. And just follow the tutorial. Add it the way I'm going to show you how to add it, but I'm not going to disclose mine. I'm going to hide that aspect of this video because my secret key and my public key is personal for me. I don't want to display that because I use that particular Stripe payment gateway, so I'm not going to show that, but I'm going to show you how you set it up in your settings and also show you how to use it in your views to be able to check out a product. Now we have been able to install Stripe into our virtual environment. The next step is to now use it and start development. Okay, first we have already set up inside our cart, we have already set up the checkout where we use this public key settings, the Stripe API key, publishable key. Then we'll also use the hidden key or the secret key. That's why we are importing these settings from here. Now inside our settings, we are going to set our publishable key and also set our secret key. So I'm going to show you how you do that in your settings to be able to use it directly from here. So let's go to our settings. Okay, let's come down here. Let me do it down here. For the Stripe, I'm going to call it Stripe underscore API underscore key. There are other ways to actually hide this. It's not even meant to be used directly from settings.py. There are other ways to hide it. Probably when I do other videos, I'm going to capture it that way instead of writing it directly into your settings.py, which is not the right way to actually do. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to implement it directly from our settings.py file. And also remember, this whole tutorial, I'm going to post it on my GitHub. I'm also going to remove the API key anyways. All you just need to do is add yours to it and it will work for you. So I'm going to add it, Stripe API key underscore publishable, then equals to, I'm going to string it. The next one is Stripe underscore API secret key equals to. Okay, now let's go to Stripe. This is the way Stripe looks. Probably when you're seeing this video, this publishable key is going to be blurred. You're going to be only seeing here where that it is showing you the publishable key. When you come to dashboard.stripe /test keys /API keys, you will see the standard keys, which is the publishable key here, the secret key. You copy it. I'm going to blur this area in the video. You will not see it. I copy it. When you copy it, you come to your settings and paste it here inside the Stripe API key publishable key. Then you also go back, you copy the secret key, you review, because it will always be hidden when you review. Okay, I'm currently signed out, so I'm gonna go ahead, sign in again. so I'll be able to access my secret key. Okay, I copy. You'll be seeing the area here. Once I copy it, I hide it again, go back to my setting, I paste it here. Now we are ready to start using our Stripe publishable key and secret key. Next step, we are going to create another app. We're going to call it the order app. That is where we are going to set up the form for our checkout and also handle the order item. So as usual, we use Python manage.py start app. We call it order. Okay, we have created that app. Next, we register it under our apps order. We save. Now let's close the settings. Under our order app, we open, go to our models.py file. So let's import some dependencies from django.contrib.auth.models. Import user. We import our product model so that we can use it as a foreign key relationship to our order. From product.models, import product. Now let's set up our order class, which is our order table. Inside the order class, we'll create models.model. Here we'll set an ordered. We'll also set shipped, so we'll use it to know when product is shipped and ordered. Next, we'll set the status choices equals to then ordered, comma, shipped. Okay, now let's add the user field. Here we'll set models.foreign key. We'll call on the user model. Related name, call it order, comma, then blank true, comma, null true, comma, on delete equal to models.cascade. Next, we'll set up for first name, call it models.field, mass length set to 250. Let's duplicate, call this for last name. This one should be for email. Here for email, for address. Okay, what I can even do is to make this to be email field. For here, set this for address. For zip code, let's add more. Call this phone, please. Let me also add payment intent. For here, let's set blank equal to true, then null equal to true. Next, we add paid equals to models.boolean field, default equal to false, then paid amount equals to models.integer field blank equal to true, then null equal to true. Next, we set the status equals to models.char_field mass length 250, 25 is fine. You can set the choices, status choices, comma, then default will always be ordered. Let's set the class meta use ordering equals to minus created at, comma. Next, let's set the function to get the total. Def get total underscore price self, then if self dot paid amount, return self dot paid amount divided by 100, return 0. Let's set the model for our order item models.model. Here we'll set order equals to models.foreign key. We'll use the order model we set, then we'll create related name equals to items, comma, then on delete models.cascade. We also create a foreign key relationship for product. Next, we also set the function to get the price, get total underscore price self, then return self.price divided by 100. All right, so let's quickly set this up. Python, as usual, let's run migration first. Python manage.py make migrations. Okay, order.order. Ordering refers to the non-existent field, related field or lookup. Okay, I did not add created at here. That's the problem. How will I be setting this up without adding created at? Created at equals to models.date time field auto add true. Okay, I hope there's nothing else. I added paid amount, I added status. Okay, is there any other thing that I'm missing? I don't think so. Okay, let's make migration again. Then let's migrate. Okay, now our models is set up. Let's start using it to set up our order and our checkout. Before I continue, let's go to the cart. Let's set up the cart checkout. Let me remove all this so we can use it. Okay, now you remember we set our publishable key in our settings.py file, so we'll be using it here for our checkout directly. That's why we are setting it here. Once I'm done, we're setting up the order. So inside our order, let's go to our views and set up the function for our order, where we are going to be using our Stripe API key. So let me start importing the dependencies that I will need to set this up. First, I will import JSON. Next, I will import Stripe from Django.config, import settings. Then from Django.http, import JSON response. Okay, now from our models, from .models, import other item. To set up the function def start order, we use request here. Inside here, we will set our cart. I also need to import our cart from here. From cart.cart, import cart. So we can use it cart equal to cart request. Next, we set our data JSON data equal to JSON.load, then request.body. Next, we set our total price equals to 0. Thereafter, items, which is a list, we set it to be empty. We're going to come back to it ASAP. Then for items, for item in cart, product equal to item list product. Next, we add the total price, which we set empty to before, to the plus equals product.price. Then we multiply it by an int item, then list quantity. Once we are done with this, the next thing is to append into the items our product detail. We will set a JSON format array where we will set price data as the primary key. Then here we will now add currency. I'm using USD, comma. We'll add product data. Then we'll add name, product.name, comma. Next we'll add the unit amount. Inside the unit amount, we'll add product.price, comma. Come here, then add quantity. We'll set item. We'll add our Stripe API key. Now we'll import the secret key here. Settings.stripe underscore secret underscore key. Okay. Next we set session equal to Stripe dot checkout dot section dot create. We'll add a payment method types equal to card. Next line underscore item, we'll set it equals to items, comma. Okay, what else do I need to set? Okay, let me also set the mode equals to payment, comma. Then let me also add the success URL equals to http://127.0.0.1 okay, comma. Let's also add the cancel URL equals to, let me copy this. Okay, but this will just set it to cart only. I think that's all I'm adding for this section. Under here, I will put the payment intent. Inside the payment intent, I will set the session dot payment underscore intent. Then I will set order equals to order dot object dot create. Here I will now set our user equals to request dot user, comma. Then I will set the first name. Remember the way we set our models, equals to first underscore name, comma. Just gonna copy this in different places so we can make the changes faster. This will be last name, this one will be email, while this one will be for phone. This one will set it for address. We'll set the next one for zip code. Let's add place. The next thing I'm gonna add is the payment intent. Let me just copy this and paste it. I will add the payment intent. Then I will add the payment intent. Okay, but I have to set this Instead of setting it the same way, I have to set it like this. Payment intent equal to payment intent. Okay, then I will set this to be paid equal to true, comma. Then I will set the paid amount equal to total price. Then we will now loop through for item in cart products equal to item product list. We'll add quantity equal to, this one should be int. So here we'll add item quantity. Next we'll add price. Price equals to product.price times quantity. I will add the item equal to order equals to order item dot objects dot, as use create instead of all. Create, we set order equals to order, product equals to product, then price equals to price, then quantity equals to quantity. Okay, we'll end by clearing our cart. Then let's render all this. We'll return JSON response bracket section comma, then order payment intent. We save. Now let's cross check and make sure everything is right. After importing all the dependencies, we set our function for start order. We imported cart. After that, we imported data equal to JSON.load request.body. We have not initialized this yet. That's why it's not showing. So something is wrong somewhere. Then we set the total price equal to 0. Then items equal to empty string. For item in cart, we say product equal to item product, then total price plus equal to total price dot price times int. Then we append the items. When we append the items, we set the price data. We set it here. We get the currency for USD. We also set the product data. We set the product name. Then we set the unit price equal to product.price. Then we get the quantity. This should be item, not items. This should be item quantity. Next, we now get the Stripe API key, settings.stripe API secret key. Then we will set the session stripe.checkout section.create. We'll set the payment method types equal to card. We set the line items equal to items. Then we also set the mode to payment success URL. We get our cart success page. Then cancel, we redirect back to the cart. Then we get our payment intent equal to session dot payment underscore intent. Okay, we are having some issues here. This one is still not correct yet. Then under here we get order dot objects dot create, user equal to request dot user, first name equal to data, should be data. We get the first name. Everything here should be data because that's what we are pulling to. So we get data. Okay, data. Then the payment intent equal to payment intent, paid equal to true. Then paid equal to total price. Okay, that should be comma here. Okay, everything looks fine here now. The next we set the item in cart equal to product item product, quantity equal to int item quantity. Then we set the price product.price times quantity. Then we get the item equal to order item.objects.create, order equal to order, product equal to product, price. Then we clear the cart. Then we return the JSON response section, order payment intent. Okay, let's save this. This is good to go. Now inside our order here, let's create another urls.py file, urls.py. Inside here, we import from Django.urs, import path, import our views from .views, import path order, then URS patterns equal to list path start order, comma, start order name equals to start order. This should be URL patterns, not the URS. Okay, that's our comma. Now let's go to our main project. Let's go to the URS and register this. So I'm gonna add the order, include order. Now that we have set this up, let's go to our admin. Let's set up the admin for our order items. So what we're gonna do is to import from Jimmy's path, import search, then inside here, okay, let me still import the models from .models. Import order items. Next we'll create class order inside. Okay, let's call it order item inline. Admin.tabular inline. We set the model equals to order item, then we get the raw underscore id fields equals to product. Okay, next we set another class for the order admin. Inside this order admin, we'll add admin.modelAdmin. Here we set our list display equals to id, comma, status, comma, then created underscore app. Okay, we set also, let me just copy this so we can just make changes. This should be for list filter. Inside the list filter, we only used for status and created that. Then the next one we set for search field, that underscore field. We use the first name, first underscore name, then address. Put comma here. Then let's also add the inline. Inside the inlines, we'll add use order item. Let's register our admin.site.register. We'll register the order and also register order item. We will also do admin.site.register for order item. This should be order admin, or the order admin we created here. Okay, save. Now our admin.py file is set. The next thing is to now build our checkout template. We're going to create the template inside our cart. So under here, let's create checkout.html. This is wrong. HTML. Okay, first thing as usual, let's extend base.html. We create another block title, checkout, and block, create our block content and block. Now let's start building our checkout. First, let's import a div. Inside this div, we'll create another sub div inside. Then we'll create a h1, call this checkout. Next, let's come down, create another div. I'm gonna call this div for the shipping information. I'm gonna create another sub div inside here. I'm going to create h2. Here I'm gonna call this shipping information. Our checkout, we are going to use a little bit of JavaScript to be able to use our Stripe. So yeah, let me add some class here so that it will be fast. Mass width, let's make it 6SL, mass width 6SL, then MS Auto, margin left, then flex, wrap, then items start, and let's set padding top to be 6, padding left will be 6.2, and for extra screen we'll set the padding left to be 0. For this other div, let me also add some class to it. Let's call it product. For our h1, let's also make a class inside it. Add class to it too. Inside here, we will set our width to be full. Under here, let's set a class too. For the shipping too. Now we are good to go. Let me add another div here. For this div, we'll add class to be. So inside this div, what I'm gonna do is to add a label. I'm going to make the label to be for our first name. Let me add class to it. Let's call it inline block. Then margin bottom to be 2. This one will be for first name. Then under it we'll add input for the input test. Then the name will be first name. We are going to add a value. The value will be equals to request.user.firstname. Then we'll add class. Let me add class to it. So what I'm going to do is create another div here. Inside this div, let me add class to it. What I'm going to do is copy this, paste it here. So I'm going to copy this, duplicate. Let's change this to be last name, sorry. Then we'll change the value here to be last. Also change this to be last. This one will be for address. Change this to be for address here too. Okay, so what we are, we are setting a value for this first name and last name. So immediately your checkout comes, you to automatically bring the first name and last name of the user. But for this address, we don't need it. We don't need to set the value, as there's no value available for that. Let me delete all this value here. Okay, let's set this for zip code. The value here should be zip code. The next one, let's set for city. The value here should be place. Okay, now let me create also for the contact information. Let me add another div here. Inside this div, let me put space here. Inside this div, call it class. Margin bottom to be 6, then padding 6. Let's make the background to be BG gray 100. Let's add rounded SL. Let's add H2 here. Inside the H2, I'm going to add class 2. For the class, I will just make a margin bottom to be 4. Then inside this, I will call it contact information. Let me add more. Make this to be uppercase. Let me add another div. Inside this div, we'll call. For this div, we'll create another label. For this label, let me add class. I'll still make it inline block email. Then input. For the input, the name should be email. Likewise, test. Add class with 2. Then padding 5. Or let's make it 6. For the email too, let's set value. We'll set request.user email. For this div, let me make a margin button to be 4. As speaks here, duplicate, no value for this. We'll set this to be equals to phone. Then we will set the name and the type to be equals to phone. We are done with this. The next, I'm going to add another div here for errors. I'm going to add for summary first. Add this, call it summary. Then make the width to be full. Set for small screens, the width to be 1/4. And make padding to be 6. Background gray 100. Then rounded SL. Now inside this div, I'm going to add another H2. For this H2, we'll call it summary. No, not that summary. Okay, for this, let's add class. It will make it uppercase. Then we set the text to be large and margin bottom to be 5. Okay, what else do I need to add here? I will create another div. Inside this div, let me put class, make it to be margin bottom 6, flat 5 between. Then we'll put span. For this span, I'm going to make the font to be semi-bold. Font semi-bold. What am I going to put here? Total. Let's put total. Okay, create another span. For this one, we will now the total price. Cart.total underscore cost. Cart.get total underscore cost. Okay, let's close it. Save. Down here, let's add button. Under this button, I'm going to add an on-click. We are going to be setting the JavaScript for that shortly. On-click, let's call it by event. So here, we'll set a class inline block 2. Confirm. Checkout. Okay, now let's start setting up the JavaScript. Under here, we'll create another block for the script. So we'll call it block script. And block. First, let's add script. Under here, we'll add type equal to application / JavaScript. We'll add a source. We are going to use the HTTPS of stripepaymentgateway.com/v3. We close it. Next, we open another script. Inside the script is where we will now set the code that's gonna get the query selector of our form. First, we will say let element, which is EL, equal to document.query selector. We'll assign this to be errors. Then next, we'll set up the function for the validate form. Inside this validate form, we will set data. Then we create our function. First, we say let errors equal to list if data.first_name equals to empty string. Then error.push first name is empty. We are also going to copy this and do it for all the elements inside our form. If data.last last name, so this should be for last name. Then this one is for email. Then we set this to email is empty. We set this for phone is empty. We set this for address, set this for the zip code. Let's duplicate it more, so we can do for place is empty. Next, if errors.length is greater than 0, then let HTML equals UL. Okay, we set this. Then inside this errors dot for each set error, then we set arrow function. Inside the arrow function, we say HTML plus equals list plus error plus the close list element. Okay, next, once we set this up, the next thing we're gonna do is to close the element dot inner HTML equals to HTML plus UL. Should be the close UL. Okay, else element dot inner HTML equals to empty string. Then we return the errors. Now this function is done. The next step is to now set up the function for our onClick the buy event. So function by event dot prevent default. Close the function here. Then we say let data equals to one first name document dot query selector impute name equals to first name, then dot value comma. Let's copy duplicate. This will be for last name. This will be for email. This is for phone. This is for address. The next one is for zip code. This is for place. Okay, next we say let errors equal to validate form. We assign the data. Next we say if errors dot length, then console.log errors. We're gonna check this in our console to see if the error is showing. Okay, next else fetch our stripe. We create the stripe variable. We create the stripe variable equal to stripe. Then we get the public key. Next we will now fetch the order. Fetch order /start order. Close this. We put a comma here, and inside this we create this. Then we say method post comma. We set headers. In the headers, we create another array. Inside the array, we will create a content underscore dash type application /json comma. We also set the csrf token. Set this inside here. We'll set the csrf underscore token. This is an array. And let's put comma here. The next we set the credentials. Inside the credentials, we set the same origin, put comma. Then we set the body of the JSON. We use JSON. We stringify, and we return the data. We stringify the data here. Once we stringify, then we create a response. We return the response.json. Then again, create another function for then. This one will be for our section. We return stripe.redirect to checkout session ID session.id. Okay, then let's do another then. So for this then, we will return the result.error. For this then, we'll call this to be result. Then we'll call this result. Then after that, we'll use an if result. If there's any error in our result, then alert us of the error. Result.error.message. Next, we'll catch function error. We'll console.log our error. Console.log errors, error. Okay, then we return false. Okay, now let's make sure that our code is perfect. We have to cross check before we go ahead to test run our checkout. First, what we did was to get the HTTPS of the JavaScript for stripe.com, the application. Once we run their machine, we started setting up our function. We first of all get the element, which is the errors, where we want to check and validate our form. we first of all say let element el equal to document or query selector. We get the errors. When we get the errors, we'll first check, we'll validate the form. Function validate form data, write errors equal to list. If the data dot first name is equals to empty, then push an error to us, which is first name is empty. We did the same for the last name, did the same for the email, also did the same for the phone, we did the same for the address, we did the same for the zip code, and finally we did the same for the place. After that, we say if the error code is greater than 0, let's get a HTML URL where we will put the error for each of the error. This should be HTML. Then we'll say HTML, we add the list created for each element for the error. Inside of it, we added the list tag. Instead of the list tag, we now appended the error, we closed it. Thereafter, closed our element of the URL. Next, we said if the inner HTML is equal to empty, then return errors. Thereafter, we started creating the by function of the event. For the event.prevent default, we first of all said let data equal to first name document or query selector. We get the input name equal to first name dot value. We also did the same for the last name. Thereafter, we did for email, just a repetition of the same thing. After getting the value, we validate the form. Let errors equal to validate form. In bracket, we append the data. Next, we used an if statement to check the errors. Then we present it into our console.log. As we go ahead to get the public key of our Stripe. Once we get the public key, we then fetch the order. We start the order. Then we go ahead to get the method post. We set the headers, content type, applications at JSON, then scrf token. We get the crf token because it's important to set the crf token to avoid us not having any issues. Thereafter, we set the credentials equal to the same origin. Then we stringify the body of the data. Then we went ahead to get the function for the response. We returned the json.response. We did the same for the section, also did the same for the error. Then we went ahead to catch any error. We print it in our console.log. Then we return false. That's just it. Now that we have set our checkout, it is now time to try to see if we can check out our product. But before we continue, let's go ahead and create another URL for our success page, success.html. Let's set this up before we now set the views and let's run our checkout. First, as usual, let's extend core/base.html. Change this to success and block. Okay, now let me create div. Inside this div, create another sub div. Inside here, I'll create a h1. I'll call this success. I'll create another paragraph. Thank you for making purchase. Inside this, let me add class. Okay, for this one, let's add products. For our h1, let's make margin button to be 5. Let's save. This is set up. Okay, let me check. I think there might be some issues. Is there any problem here? Okay. I just want to make sure the classes I set up here are correct. Okay, everything looks good here. Okay. Now, before we continue, let me also set the order details to be able to show inside our account. So I'm going to go to the core. Inside the core. Okay, before we go there, let me set the views for our success page that we just created. We have created for the checkout, but we have not created for the success. So for the success, I'm just going to copy this, make changes, call this to be success. Let me take this down. We don't need this. Remove this success. So success.html. Okay. Now let's go to let me save. Go to the URLs for cart. Here let's add for the success and also add for the checkout. This should be success. Let's import it here. Success. Let's import checkout. Change this to success. Also, this should be success. Okay. Now this should be for the checkout. So we can do it once and for all. Checkout. Okay. Let's save. Next step is to now go to our call. Inside our call, let's open the account template. In the account HTML, we're now going to add our orders here, so that when we make an order, we'll be able to see it in our account, the history of our order. Here, let me add class, call it MY6, and text, let's make it SL. Okay. Next, let's set. Next, we use a for statement for order in request.user.orders.all div. Okay, let me end the for before we forget. Now let's continue. Inside this div, we're going to create another sub div, and inside one, I'm going to create an a tag. Here we are just going to put hash and not put in any URL there. So what I'm going to do is, inside this tag, I'm going to put an image that's going to get our item.product thumbnail, item.product.get thumbnail. Before we even get to this point, I should have added some stuff in the first div here first. So for this div, let's duplicate. For this one, I don't need to add this here. So what I'm going to do is, for this one, why am I removing that? For this one, we're going to add our order. So this is going to be for order ID. Instead of having this here, I'm going to put the order ID, order.id. Now let me put some class here. Make it margin bottom to be 6. Then let's make it flex. This should be justified between. Okay, and for this one, class, let's make it width to be full. Then let's make margin button to be 6. Then padding, let's make it 6. Flex wrap, let's make the background to be gray, and let me make some border radius. All right, in my head tag here, everything is fine. Then the next one, let me add for this div here, I'm gonna add margin button, make it 6. Then width to be full. Okay. Now, before we get to this image, we have to do another for loop. So we'll say for item in order.items.all. For item in order.items.all, then you get us the image. Okay. Let me create a div that will house this image. Inside this div, we'll now carry this href tag. Cut it. Let's paste it here. Okay. We add class. In this class, I'm going to add product and make it margin button 6 and make it flex. Padding right, let's make it 6. Let me also add class to the href. Make it width to be 1/4 for this img. Let me add class to, let me add some hover shadow, large and rounded as well. Okay, save. Next, let me create another div here. For this div, I will create another div inside, then add href. For this one, we'll add item.product.name. Okay. Let's add class here. Let's make it width 3/4. For this other div, let me make this text here to be large. What I can do is to add a paragraph here. Inside the paragraph, we'll add the item amount. So we'll say item.get_total_price. Okay. Add class to it. Let's make a margin button to be 6. Then margin top, let's make it 1. Then text gray 400 is fine by me. Okay, save. Let me put some line here. Then under here, I will create another div. For this div, I will add a class for the margin top to be 6. Then inside this div, I will put the quantity item dot. Okay, I need to end the for. So what I'm gonna do now is put another div here. Inside this div, I will create a paragraph. For here, I will call class. Then I will make this to be large. For this, I will add the order.created at, copy this, should be total, get total, right. Okay, this is now set. Let's run our server to test run everything we've been building. Run server. Okay, no module name, James Pat. Okay, let's start from this one. I have to import this James part. So let me clear this. Pip install. Let's go to the order that you used it. Admin. Let's install it though. Okay. Let's run the server again and see. Okay, let's go to our browser, refresh. All right, we still have such stuff in our cart, and let's try to check out. Our checkout did not work. Let's inspect to make sure where we are having problem. Okay, there's no error yet showing here. Okay, so where's our checkout? Even before we get to this point, we are meant to come here. Okay, think in our cart, I have not set up the checkout URL. That's where we are not having our checkout work yet. So we need to set that up. Yeah, let's add the URL of our cart. URL checkout. Let's refresh. Then let's check out. Okay, this is our checkout. Then let me add address. Let's say New York, and we say 5. Okay, then let's say Redlands. Then 05 is okay. Okay, then confirm checkout. Our checkout is not triggering, meaning something is wrong. Let's inspect and see. Uncut reference by is not defined at HTML. Click. Okay, let's look at it. Looking at the function, everything looks fine. Everything looks good. There's no problem anywhere. Okay, let's go towards the up. Oh, I did a mistake here. Did not add R. Save. Let's go back and refresh. Okay, let's try to confirm. Phone is empty, address is empty, zip code is empty, place is empty. All right, that means this is working. Let's try and let's put New York and 1 2 4 6 10 Redlands. Okay, now let's try and check out. Let's inspect and know what's the problem. Okay, you may test your stripe.json over HTTP. However, okay, I'm trying to figure out why we're having this error. This was the first one. Then failed to load resources. The server responded with a status of 404 not found. Okay, let's go back to our code in our order. Okay, we have the start order and we used it inside. So what we're gonna do right now is inside the views of the cart here, I'm not really seeing any problem. So what I'm gonna do is to open the views for the order to see if there's any issues there. There's the views order. Okay. Now inside here, let's go down and see if there's any problem in the start order function. There's no problem here. API key is having double Y, so let's remove that. Okay. Now let's go back to our browser to try. Close this. Let me enter zip code. Okay, let's start with the address first. New York, it's fine. Then zip code any number. Then city, let's use Redlands. Okay, the email is there, phone number. Okay, let's confirm checkout. Still not working. What's the challenge? I did not even refresh. I need to refresh this. Yeah, let's refresh. Go back home. Nothing is inside our checkout. Now let's try to add something. Go to home again. Let's add this product. Then add to cart. Now we have something there. Let me also add this peak. Okay, now we have to, let me add more. Add more for this peak milk. Okay, let's check out. Okay, the name is already there. Let's put in address. Okay, let's put in GH there. Then phone number 55. All right, let's go. Check out. We have been redirected to Stripe. So this is the Stripe. You can see the details of product here. We have $360 total, 10,170. Sorry, 160. Now let's enter email. Let's put in the dummy card 424242424242. Okay, month and year should be, doesn't matter the CVV. Now full name, let's use Joe Biden. Okay, we're currently in Nigeria. So okay. All right, so the success page, we are not able to get that. Something is wrong. So let's go back to our code to see why we did not get the success page, but we have been able to check out. So inside the URS, okay, so we have cat. What I'm gonna do is carry this one, then okay, so this is the success page. All right, so what I have to do now, let's go back to the URS so we can try to figure out why we cannot yet see the cat. Something is definitely wrong somewhere. So what I'm gonna do is inside the cat URL for the success, we need to put cat slash success so that it will be able to get cat because this success page is coming from the cat, but we did not add cat to it. That's why we're not able to get it. So we have to add cat slash success, then slash to close it for this our success page for us to be able to get it. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Cat slash success. Okay, save. Let's go back to our browser, refresh this. Yep, thank you for making purchase. Now we have everything working. We have been able to check out, and the success page is showing. Now let me remove this question mark that is coming up there. Okay, save, go back. Okay, now if you can see from our orders here, this is the history, the orders history. This is the checkout we just did right now. You can see the whole details is showing us from here inside our account page. As you can see the date, the time, everything is popping up. We have the history of the products we have been able to check out. So yeah, as you can see, we have implemented the major things we need. Now let's go to, let me add dollar sign here so that you can feature it. Okay, so You can see that. So what I'm gonna do next now is to also add more classes. Let me add margin top to the date so it will make it look margin left. Sorry, let's do that and add it to the left to make it look better. Okay, auto save. Let's go back, refresh, so we can have some space there. That's the point of that. So it did not work. Let's change it to 6. Save and let's try again. Okay, we also have to do the same for the date. MS6. Okay, save, go back. All right, so let's just have space there. So you can see the whole order history showing us the details of our product, the products we have been able to check out. So yeah, everything is looking good. We have been able to implement everything that a normal e-commerce website is meant to have. Sorry, the front end might not look that good, but the functionalities are the most important. We have the shop. We also implemented the search functionality that you can get any product. So yeah, everything is looking good. You can check out when there's no product inside. Check out. So let's add this. Let's try and check out this product now. Check out. Put in New York again. Then you call any number you like. Let's see phone number. All right. Check out. Okay, so this is it as usual. Let's put the email. Wrong email. Okay. 42424242. Okay. Yeah. Put in that. Then anything for the CVV. Joe Biden. Right. So let's go ahead and pay. All right. Thank you for making purchase. You can see the success page. I've been able to check out that product. This is just the product we checked out now. You can see. So yeah, everything is looking good. Everything is set. So yeah, we now have a full functional e-commerce website. I've even implemented both the order history. So yeah, everything is looking good. If you go to shopping, you can add any product you want. I just have only 2 products. That's the only 2 products I added inside the e-commerce. So everything is looking all set. So yeah, our site is ready. You can look at what I've done, use it to make adjustments for yours and implement it to look better than what I've done.